My name is Boateng. Title is doctor, and I've been a physician. I did practice as a family medicine doctor, and now I'm here in the United States doing what we call. I'm now the director for quality performance improvement, which actually involves a lot of patient safety, what we call regulatory, dealing with regulatory agencies that oversee the healthcare, and then risk, that is making sure that things do not happen that will end up, having to go to court, or in particular, first of all, harming a patient, and then ending up, we going to court because something we did or we didn't do, harm the patient. So I'm originally from a country called Ghana in West Africa, and it's very easy to locate Ghana. So you pick the globe and you go to longitude 0 and latitude 0, and you see Ghana right on the top. So it's very easy, somehow kind of the middle of the globe. So it's very, very easy to find, and it's in West Africa. I did my basic education all the way to high school in Ghana, and then I had a government scholarship to study medicine in the then Soviet Union, and particularly country called Ukraine, where if you are on top of the news, there is war going on right now. It used to be one country with Russia, but they separated. Actually, at the time that I was there, that was in 1989, we'll call it perestroika, that is rebuilding. And so they separated into different states, Commonwealth of Independent States, and so Ukraine became independent by itself, and that's where I did my medical education. So I went there with no knowledge whatsoever of the language, and the course that we did, we were going to study the language and some pre-medical courses for 1 year, and then the medical course itself was for 6 years for the MD degree. Well then, I remember the only thing I knew to pronounce was bread in the language, which was chleb, and then milk, and I didn't even know how to pronounce it properly. Malako, I would say moleko, that's what I was saying, But I remember when I got there, and first we went to the capital, which was then Moscow, and then we spent a couple of days there. We went back to our station, which Vinnytsia, is in the heart of Ukraine, and there were Ghanaians over there who came to meet us, and I asked one person, I said, do you think that I'll be able to do this? Because I don't think language is something that I can learn. So what he said was, if I can do it, then you can do it. I said, so it kept me, started thinking, well, he doesn't know me, he doesn't know anything about me. How could he boldly say that? So, kept me thinking. Later I went to him and he says, well, probably I might think that I was worse than you. But he was then in the 3rd year, going to the 3rd year when I went there. So that encouraged me. And I said, well, it's, if it wasn't something that was impossible, they would have been doing it. So they doing it means that we can do it, people can do it, and so I can do it. And, that's kind of what motivated me. So, of course, I went through everything and came out, a physician. So it was very interesting. Again, I think it's a question. When I began, I had fascination with science. It's always been science. In fact, I was so much into science that when I was at high school, the head of the science department, who was also the head of the chemistry department, they decided to set me aside to kind of give me extra classes. First of all, they were trying to prove that the other students who, because we do, at the time, we do have an international exam. And so the school wasn't doing that well as they should. So they decided to use me as an example to send a message out that it's just the students not learning. So they set me aside because of my fascination. I remember the first time I got to know that, chemistry, water is H2O. 2 atoms of hydrogen plus 1 atom of oxygen will give you water. So I said, how can a gas come together and they form water? So that kind of, has been, so basically it's fascination with science. And with technology, with engineering, and with math. That's gonna be my field. That's gonna what took me. But my journey, as I was saying, so they decided to give me extra classes because they saw my enthusiasm, my fascination, and of course, I passed with excellent. I was on top of my this thing group, and this is people in my college. And that year we were over 200. So that was what happened. Now there was a twist here. As I was growing as a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. Actually, and just don't think I'm crazy. Now I was in Africa. They've never flown spacecraft from Africa, not to my knowledge. And I had got in contact with some of the NASA centers in the United States. So I was writing to them. So I know about the Apollo program. I know about the Skylab program. I know about some of the programs that all the way to the shuttles, the Challenger, Columbia, Discovery. I knew all. So I was getting pictures. And so impossible as it might sound, I wanted to be an astronaut. However, when I got to high school, they started a new program where you had to either choose between mathematics with math or biology or science. Now you could do math and the other science, but in particular biology and math, you had to choose one. And what they decided was, compared to math, biology was kind of more difficult, and so they wanted those of us who, if you want to do math, you are going to basically more of engineering, but biology more of medicine. So I thought about it. I said, well, it looks like I'm more, linked to biology, and also, the fascination of it. Now, math tends to simplify things. You get a whole law like the law of motion, and then math will just tell you, F equals ma, force is equal to mass and acceleration. So that's kind of simple. So I said, let me do the hard stuff, where you have to break things down in a lot of reading. So I actually went to biology. So that is where I had the shift from, going to be aspiring astronaut. First, I thought I would be a pilot and then become an astronaut, and then I moved to medicine. So that's kind of how I ended up in medicine. So, medicine involves a lot, and basically, I think when I started studying medicine, what I realized was it's kind of where a whole lot of sciences come together to meet. It's kind of the point where from different branches of sciences they come to meet. But mostly you are working on human beings, and if there can be error somewhere else, even we don't allow error in aviation because you fly in an aircraft and something goes wrong, where you have hundreds of people, they're going to crash and die. So there is no option for error. And so is medicine, because you are dealing with human being, and the delicacy of it. The human body is really, really has a lot of intrigues to it, very fascinating. But in as much as it's great, I look at the different organs that we have, the work that they do. I mean, excellent work, yet we do have diseases, and there are weaknesses, also in the human body. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is you have to take your science very, very seriously, But, learning is one thing, but the question is, what is motivating me to learn, or want to learn? For me, it was fascination. I wanted to know, why. And I remember my father one time telling me that when I was a kid, I actually would destroy things. And I remember in particular one that I still recollected, where the television, was on. And those days, it was black and white television. And I wanted to know who was inside the television that was speaking. So I actually ended up unscrewing the back of the television, and I went in, there was nobody there. My father didn't do anything to her. Normally he would have, scolded me, but he didn't do that because he realized the fascination. So that's kind of how this thing worked. And I also have another brother who's also a doctor. I mean, you teach him one thing and he has about 1,000 questions to read. So for me, it was fascination. So that is what kind of drove me to want to know more, to want to learn. And that was kind of the fuel that sustained me, for learning. And again, even till now, I still learn. So I call myself a lifelong student. So because I don't know all there is to know, but I always strive to know, and there's always new things coming up, and you always will learn new things. So for me, going to this thing, I would tell you, look at the nobility of wanting to be a doctor. You touch people right at the point of probably their highest, and when they are helpless, but they need you. So that is the beauty and the nobility of medicine. And for me, it was fascination that wanting to know what's there, what will happen. That will be. So I would say learn, but you should have a reason why you are learning. So it's that you might come with unexpected, something that you don't expect, and that will happen. For instance, you want, like, let me give a very good example. You give this medication, you expect this to happen, but something else will happen. That it's a surprise. And then kind of something new that comes all the time. So we expect something new to happen, but we don't want it to happen. And then when it happens, it surprises you. So it's a little kind of interesting. So I don't want this something going out of the normal happen. However, it happens, and when that happens, it's a surprise. Now, back of my mind, were we expecting it? Yeah, but we don't want it to happen. So you have that, going on, and it makes it kind of, I would say, exciting. That's what I say. So, those the surprises that leads to, getting you excited, and probably wanting to know, well, why did this happen? So you come back to why, and why is always, the fascination thing. So I will tell you that as you go through high school, try to take those advanced courses. Very, very helpful. They will help you with your MCAT. Very, very helpful. And then have a plan ahead. You can't predict the future, but at least you should have a working plan and say, well, I met a guy that spoke. He made himself. He was 30 years at the time. His life was kind of messed up a little bit, and he says, I am going to make myself a doctor. And in 10 years, he did that. Now, I did mine in 8 years. So I want to tell you that kind of have that type attitude at the back of your mind and say, hey, I can do it, and I'm going to give myself this number of years, and I'm going to do it. My daughter just went to medical school from college. When she finished her bachelor's, she did 1 year of another job because she was just looking, and then she finally decided, and then she got admission. So I will tell you that, take those advanced courses, try and see when you are doing your college, your first degree, see if you can get pre-med program. That would be very, very helpful. Start learning ahead of the MCAT questions. There are materials around that you can get, learn them. And because a lot of this thing, school that you are going to get, and not all medical schools are the same, it's going to depend on the MCAT. And then do those science courses because they require them, the chemistry, the biology, and the physics. You need at least 1 year of those with lab work. So kind of get the prerequisite that you need into enter medical school. And you can do them for much, much less. Because if you wait until you come out of college, it's going to be difficult, in terms of money-wise doing it, and also the time. You might not have the time. What you have to know is as the days go by, there is something new coming up all the time. So even by the time you finish college, some of the stuff you learn are obsolete. So try and do them whilst you are at college. It's cheaper, you have the time to do it, and you'll just be ready for medical school.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Thanks. Bye.